Okay, to solve this question, this is a work rate question on the GMAT, and I have a particular rule that I use to solve this type of question, and I'm going to put a link towards the end of this video to kind of show you. Actually, I'll put a link at this particular point in the video. So if you don't understand my flip rule, watch that video first, because what I'm about to explain here would make my explanation here make more sense. So I'm using the flip rule. It's an original concept that I invented to solve work rate questions on the GMAT. So what we have here is we have two pumps, right? We've been told that there's a pump 1 and a pump 2. So I'm just going to call pump 1, pump 2. And in both cases, when they work together, they can complete a task. They can fill the swimming pool in 4 hours. So this is what they've told us, 4 hours. But we do not know how much time each pump takes if it worked by itself. And by the way, that's actually the question. It says how many hours will it take the faster pump to fill the pool. So this is what we have. We don't know what the pumps are. So I'm just going to go ahead and call this pump and say it takes about X hours to fill the swimming pool. And this takes Y hours to fill the swimming pool. And so X and Y represent numbers we do not know. But we know together, working together, they can fill the swimming pool in 4 hours. My flip rule for my students who have come to our Success Prep class here in Atlanta, or have watched my videos online, which are available on our website, successprep.com. You're familiar with my flip rule. And my flip rule says when you've given the hours at the top here, you should flip it, meaning this X is technically X over 1, Y over 1, because they're just regular numbers. You should flip it, add them, and then flip it again. And that will tell you the combined number of hours, which we've been told is 4 hours here. But we can use that same rule to do the calculation to find out our answer here. The first flip in my flip rule is the conversion to rate. This first flip is a rate. So when I look at this X hours and Y hours, when I say flip, I make that 1 over X and I make this 1 over Y. Okay. But this 1 over X and 1 over Y represent a rate. Now, why does it represent rate? For example, if I told you that something takes 2 hours to complete, it means that every hour you're doing 1/2 of it. It's just a flip of 2. If you take 2 and flip it upside down, you get 1 over 2. So this is the rate at which you're doing the work per hour. Okay. So if it takes 3 hours to do something, your rate is 1/3, right? You just flip the hours, it tells you the rate. So that's essentially what I'm doing in this first move. But in this question, it says something very, very interesting. It says that one of the pumps is 1.5 times the other one. Okay. So in setting up this question, you could pick either one, either the pump 1 or pump 2, but I am going to assume that the pump 1, its rate 1 over X is 1.5 the rate of the pump 2. Okay, so the pump 1 over X, the rate is 1.5 the rate of the other one, which automatically means that pump 1 is the faster, okay, is the faster pump, right? Because it can move it's moving at a faster rate. That is what we're saying here. So that means then that instead of writing 1 over X for the rate of pump 1, I'm just going to use this 1.5 1 over Y as my rate. And then again, my rule here says just flip the hours, flip it into these guys, right? 1 over X and 1 over Y. But we now know that 1 over X is 1.5 1 over Y because of what the question said. The next thing we do is we just add that. So it's just going to be 1.5 here. One thing, and for my students in class, we actually did this question about 2 days ago. The reason I'm recording this video is there was something I couldn't see in class and I just finally saw it. And guys, when you flip this X to 1 over X, this Y to 1 over Y, if they've given you the total number of hours, that has to be flipped as well. So this 4 hours needs to become 1 over 4. 1 over 4. But understand that I want to always put an equal to sign here, because this 1 over 4, this 4 initially, but when flipped, which becomes 1 over 4, is a total. That is the total if both pumps work together. So when I come to this stage of adding, this is going to be 1.5 1 over Y plus this 1 over Y. This 1 over Y over here comes down, but it is a 1, just one of it. And all of that is equal to 1 over 4. Remember, this 4, which flipped to 1 over 4, is your total. So it should stay on the right side of the equal to sign. And it has to be flipped. And that was the thing I couldn't see in class. I kept bringing this 4 down as a 4 and as a 4 instead of making it 1 over 4. Because at this first stage, everything at this level needs to be flipped. The x, the y, and this 4 needs to be 1 over 4. So to my students in class, that is what we missed in class. I kept this as 4 instead of making it 1 over 4. So with that said, let me go ahead and move this down a little bit. I'm going to need some space. Okay. So with that said, now where we are is I have 1.5 1 over y plus 1 1 over y. Well, 1 plus 1.5 of anything plus 1 of that same thing becomes 2.5 of that thing. So that's just using my fractions there. So, think of this as 1.0. Yeah, 1.0 is the same thing. So all of that is equal to 1 over 4. Now, I'm still trying to get my 1 over y by itself. So now, it's very interesting thing is I'm looking at this 1/4, and 1/4, guys, is simply 0.25 if you change that to a decimal. So that means then, if I want to get this 1 over y by itself, I should divide 2.5 on both sides. Yeah. Now, I'm going to stop looking at this as 1/4. I'm going to look at this as 0.25. So with this said, if I just continue this math over here, 0.25 divided by 2.5, I want to get the root of the decimal. So I want to move all the decimals out. So I'm going to move decimals out here. I'm going to say 1, 2, right? And I also move 1, 2 here. So the number of moves you have at the top is what you have to have at the bottom. Ultimately, you want to move all the decimals out. You don't want to have any decimals left. So when you move 2 decimals at the top here, you get 25. If you move 2 decimals at the bottom here, there's an extra space here. So that becomes a 0. So that becomes like a 250, right? 25 goes in 25 one time, so that's 1, and this is 1. So this is going to be 1 over 10 is where we are. So what this tells me is that 1 over y, which is what we got when we cross this out, is equal to 1 over 10. Well, remember that, and obviously the last thing of my flip rules here says that you just flip the last piece, which is 1 over y equal to 1 over 10. Obviously, when you flip that upside down, for both of them, you get y equal to 10. So we just found out now that y is 10. Now this question asked for the number of hours of the faster pump. Well, the faster pump is the pump 1, which is the x information. So what I really want, guys, is my my x, not my y. I found y here, but I want my x. So what I'm going to need to do here is take this 10 and put it in. Take this 10 and put it in back into this equation I have over here. Okay. So to get my x, because I need to get x out of it. So essentially, let me just kind of pull it out here. It's going to be 1 over x equal to 1. Now I'm going to think about 1 point. Actually, I could keep it as is. So it's just going to be 1.5. Yeah, 1 over. Remember the y is 10, so I'm going to put 10 over there. So this ends up being 1.5 over 10, okay? And this is 1 over x, right? Then obviously if you want to do some math here, you want to get the decimal away out of this. So it's going to be, you move a decimal here, that's going to be 15. And you move a decimal here. Well, it's not really a decimal. If you move a decimal at the top and there's no decimal at the bottom, you essentially just add a 0. So that's going to be 15 over 100. And so to reduce this, 5 goes here, 3. 5 goes here, 20. And so 1 over x is equal to 3 over 20. But remember, you really want x by itself. So I'm going to flip that upside down to get x. So x becomes 20 over 3. So the answer to this question is going to be E. So very important here to just really understand flip at flip. Again, I'm going to put a link to the more basic flip at flip question in this video. So you want to watch that first. But for my students who already come to our class and understand flip at flip, you can definitely walk through this video, play it multiple times, make sure you're very clear on it, and so that you can get your answer. So your answer here is going to be 20 over 3, and that's how you do this question.